Carpe Diem Planners. I have a little bit of a different name, and so the easiest way to remember it is if you think Gail, but with an L, so Gail Layle. Today I'm going to cover kind of two topics. The first one I'm going to touch on is printing printables. There are a lot of printables out there available. Carpe Diem Planners makes many, and there are other companies that you can find on Etsy that make them as well. But one of the biggest questions that we get when we come out with new printables is, how do I print them? What's the best paper to print them on? How do I print double-sided? Different things like that. So since we've recently launched our brand new printables area of our store on the Carpe Diem Planners website, I thought I would touch on that. And then after that, I'm going to go through a plan with me. So basically using the printables that I printed, how I would go about setting up my planner for the month. All right, so let's get started. The printables that I am using in today's video, these are the No ProbLllama A5 planner printables, and I will include a link both to the printables store on the Carpe Diem website as well as these particular printables that I am using. Okay, so let's talk about one of the biggest question that we get is, what type of paper do I use when I'm printing printables? And I think that's really open to interpretation. It's really open to your preference. But I will tell you what I use. I purchase this particular paper from Michaels, and it is a white cardstock. It's a 65-pound cardstock. It is the same weight as the Simple Stories scrapbook paper, which also happens to be 65-pound. So these go on sale quite frequently, where you think you're able to pick up, for a couple of dollars, 50 sheets of 8.5 by 11. And those seem to work really well. So that is just my personal preference. You might find a basil cardstock that you like that doesn't have a texture, and that's really important. You want to make sure it doesn't have a texture. It's a little bit harder to see some of the finer writing if you're using a cardstock with a texture. You can also find paper like that at an office supply store, or if you're having them printed professionally, maybe you're taking them to like a FedEx Kinko's or something like that, you could ask for a 65-pound cardstock, and then that should be a nice kind of thicker cardstock. And I like to use something thicker like that because when you are working with the dividers and the calendar, I like to have something that's a little bit thicker, so it's a little bit sturdier. Okay, so the next thing is, how do I print them? Or where do I print them? Now, I print my printables at home just because I work from home, and that is the easiest thing for me to do. I have a Canon wide format printer, but that's not something you have to use. You could really use any type of printer. Obviously, you want that to have colored ink. Depending on what you're printing and how many sheets you're printing, it may be more cost effective to take them to somewhere like FedEx Kinko's or Office Max or Staples or something like that. You could purchase the printables and then upload them to their website and print from there. Depending again on how many you're printing. So the particular set that I mentioned that I'm using, these are the A5 planner printables, and these are I think they're the monthly dated calendar set. I've actually printed a couple different things, but again, I will link those in the information for the video. This particular set I'm using has 48 pages. Now those are single-sided pages, and some of these I'm printing double-sided. So before I print, I kind of look through everything at first and decide what is it that I think I might want to use. I don't just go print all 48 because there are times when I'm not going to use all 48 pages. So I will look through them and decide what I want to print. If I'm printing at home, then I'm typically telling my printer, I want you to print page 2. And I want you to print page 5. I want you to print page 28, for example. So I am printing each of those pages separately. Then, when some of them are double-sided, I will then go back in and take the front side, and I will put in that again and run it through to the back side. Now, every printer works differently. So when I put this in, I first printed this front, and then I believe I turned it upside down and then put it in let's see, I would have turned it upside down and then put it in this way. That's how my printer printed. Usually what I will do, you guys, on this, I will do a test print first. So on a regular piece of paper, even if I wanted to do it black and white, because I'm not printing something I'm going to use, I will just print for placement. So I'll put it in, and then I'll put like a little X right here. I would say this is where I put it in initially, and then when it comes back out, I can look at my feed, look at my printer, and figure out the correct way to put that in. So that's just a little something that I do, so I know to make sure that I'm putting them in right side first, and then the opposite side. One quick thing I wanted to mention, and I'm going to throw in a screenshot here from my computer, the printer dialog box. It is really important when you are printing printables, and this doesn't matter if they are printables from Carpe Diem planners, from Simple Stories, something you picked up off of Etsy. 99.99999% of the time, you want to make sure that the scale is set to 100%. Sometimes your printer dialog box will do funky things, and it will change the scale. So it might say scale to fit, and it's actually reducing the size of what it is intended. So make sure to use that scale at 100%. Again, that's also another reason why I will do a test print first to make sure that the scale is okay. All right, so we've talked about kind of the paper to use, the front and back sides, but double-sided printing, doing a front and back side like this one is really important, because this is the front of the March planner, or the March tab. And then on the back side, I have the left side of the March calendar. So I really want those to print back to back. So that way when I cut this out, I already have my back side. I don't have to print two sheets and adhere them together. Same thing on this side. I printed the front, and the front will then go in my planner like that. So I have the left side of my spread and the right side of my spread. One thing you'll also notice, the fronts have your cut lines. The backs don't have any cut lines, and that is by design. So then that way you are not running into problems with cut lines and things matching up. You don't have cut lines on the back side. So when you're cutting, make sure to just cut from the front, don't cut from the back, because the cut lines are meant for the front. Okay. So I think, you guys, that's really kind of the really basic 101 when it comes to printing printables. It's not difficult. It's more knowing your printer and kind of playing around and doing a little test print first to make sure that you're printing what you want to print the way that you want it to print before you start printing an entire, 20 or 30 pages. All right, so with that said, now let's go ahead and let's do the plan with me. So I want to talk about how I typically approach something like that when I'm putting together a brand new planner spread. So I start with my planner completely empty. So that way I kind of have a blank canvas to work with. I also will get out some really basic tools, including my readers, because I can't see without those when things start to get up close. But I'll get a regular size pair of scissors, a little small pair of scissors that it's great for fussy cutting. I will get a little glue stick, a black Sharpie, a tape runner, and then I load up a tray, and that's what I've done here. So I preload a tray with some embellishments and washi and different things that I think might go with my setup. That way I'm not stopping in the middle of my setup and going to search for things and coming back and forth. And that's just the way I do it. It makes it a little bit easier that way. Now that's not to say that I don't go back out and look at, kind of my stash and see what else might work if I'm not inspired by what I pulled. The other thing that I always pull out is my Carpe Diem A5 punch, so that I can easily punch the holes for my rings. And then of course, obviously, those printables that I had already printed. So let's go ahead and get going here. I'm gonna move my planner out of the way, and I'm gonna start out by cutting out my printables. So I had already printed these, double-sided already. Usually what I'll do is, for part of this, I will bring in my trimmer. So I'm just going to bring in my big trimmer here. Let's turn that to the side so you can maybe see what I'm doing. And then I just follow those cut marks on the front. So I cut there. Oh, I don't want to cut along this side, or I'd cut off that March tab. So I'm going to hand trim that. But let's go around to this side and trim. And the bottom and trim. And then I'm just going to grab my scissors. So you can see already on the back, without my trim lines on the back, things are looking really good. So I'm now going to just grab my scissors and follow that cut line. Oh, now is where I have to get the readers out because I can't see. And I'm also going to grab my little tiny scissors here. Actually, let's do that. Well, we have the big guys. The big guys are a lot easier to cut with when you're cutting big things. I have to apologize if you can hear that humming sound in the background. Many of you know that we recently moved. Well, I guess like 7 months ago, but our neighborhood is definitely under construction. And of course, it's now that whatever is going on, you can hear this hum. So I'm hoping that I can just hear it and you guys can't hear it. All right, so there we go. There we have the back side and we have the front side. So I'm going to do the same thing quickly with the right side of that calendar. Now, the printables here, this particular set had the monthly dividers and the dated calendar for the entire year. So right now I've just printed March because that's all I need. I might get a wild hair and want to change things up, and I don't want to use the No ProbLlama again for March. So that's why I will typically just print what I need at the moment. This is such a fun collection, or such a fun set of printables. The No ProbLllama was inspired by a Simple Stories collection from last year, actually a simple set. It's a really small, super themey mini collection. That was for Mother's Day, but this is super generic. This No ProbLllama has nothing to do with Mother's Day. It just uses a lot of that really fun, cute llama artwork, which is still so popular. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my punch. And the Carpe Diem A5 punch is a standard size punch. So if you have a standard size A5 planner, the punch will work for you. And reverse, if you have a standard A5 punch, then it should work perfectly for those inserts. So I'm just going to slide that in. There's a little stopper at the end that makes sure that I am in the right spot. And I now have, oh boy. So I know what... Oh, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. I thought I just punched that in the wrong place. That would not have been good. Now I'm going to take this same one and I'm going to do that. And we're going to punch right there. So now I have my basis for March. I'm going to pull back in my planner and we'll set both of those in. And they fit perfectly, so I love that. All right. So now, super blank planner. Oh, I should actually mention, I am using that beautiful cream blossom, and it goes really well with the collection. In fact, this is one of the papers, one of the printables that I had printed out. Doesn't that go super well? I just love that, kind of that really soft floral. But the inside, it's like meant for this No ProbLllama collection. That beautiful kind of robin's egg color works, just coordinates so well with the collection. All right, so usually what I do now is I start decorating the pockets, and I'm going to grab my little kind of setup here. These three pieces, these little 3x4 cards, were from one of the sheets of the printables in this set. So I'll usually start with those, and I just start tucking things in pockets. Now, what I like about this card, I think I'm going to fussy cut this, because as cute as it is as a standalone card, I'm going to cut that little llama out. And when I do this, and let me try to get up close here so you can see, when I do this, I am leaving part of that really pretty light blue border around the outside, because if I'm trying to get in really tight, that is going to be crazy fussy cutting. That I call stupid fussy cutting. So there's good fussy cutting and then stupid fussy cutting. And stupid fussy cutting in my book is when you are trying to get so tight and intricate that it's just so hard to do. So I leave a little bit of that border around the edge. We're just going to keep on going. Oh, llama's so cute. I was going to call him a he, but I think she's a she. For whatever reason, when I'm doing videos. I tend to call things he, but this one is definitely a she. Maybe she's Lucy. Maybe I'll call her Lucy the llama. All right. There we go. And there we go. All right, I'm not going to worry too much about the bottom there because we're not going to see a bunch of that. So I think that is going to go right there. So what I do now is I just start putting things in. I had pulled some 12 by 12 papers from that that Mama Llama collection that I mentioned. So these were the two 12 by 12 papers that I pulled, and I just cut out a couple of 3 by 4 cards so that I'd have some pieces to use in decorating the pockets if I wanted to have a couple of additional pieces. So I really like having that brown there. It's a good contrast, but I don't necessarily need the wording on there. So we're going to kind of tuck that in there. Actually, I like that one better. And a lot of it is trial and error, just moving things around until you get it to you get it to where you want it. Now, as I am moving things around, eventually I am going to tack them down. And when I say tack them down, I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive behind them so that they're not going to move around a lot. Just decorating it, making it cute. Now, if you don't have access to that Mama Llama scrapbook collection from Simple Stories, that is a-okay, because these are 2 more printables that came out of that set. So I love that those are just super fun. Actually, I think these came out of a different set. So again, I'm going to link the 2 sets that I've used, so you have access, you can see everything that I've used. But these 2, so I'm going to actually go ahead and grab my trimmer here off to the side, and I'm going to make a couple more 3 by 4 cards there, just so I have a little bit more of that pattern. So, all right, there we go. That's really pretty. I think we're going to put that there. Put this here for a little bit more contrast. Ooh, that's a fun stripe. And then let's put this guy up here. Just tucking things in, playing around. And then I also like, actually, I'm going to cut another piece of that floral, and I'm going to tuck that in to this bottom pocket. Now, that's too big, so we'll just cut that down a bit. Just have that tucking out of the pocket there. Okay, so also as part of the printables, on that 3 by 4 sheet that I cut a couple of those cards from, there are a few really super cute little icons that you can cut out and put in there as well. So I think we'll do that. I think we'll do, oh, that one's cute. Lila love you lots. So that could go right there. And this is where I want to have my little tape runner or a little bit of glue stick. Start tacking some of this down. Some of the stuff, you guys are like me. We could sit here and play and move things around for what seemed like forever. And sometimes we just don't want to do that. We just have to call it good, and it's going to be cute no matter what we do to it. All right, I pulled a couple of clips. So this particular clip is from the Spring Farmhouse collection from Simple Stories. And as I was pulling things, I thought that would be so cute in there just because it goes so well. So we'll put that little guy there. And then I pulled out a bunch more clips from my stash that I thought might go. So let's do this little one there. That would be cute. Little flower. This little paper flower. Paper clip. We'll tuck that in right there. And it's really just trial and error. It really is just trial and error. Whatever you like, whatever you think is cute. Is that bird gonna go? I like that bird. That bird clip. I'm using a mixture of clips that I have made and clips that I have purchased. That little bird. Sometimes I start to get too many. So it's a lot of, again, trial and error. That's cute there. What else? What else? That's a cute one. We'll put that there. All right, I also pulled the 6x12 stickers from that same collection. These are from the scrapbook side of that collection. You can see on the 6x12 stickers, there are some things that are a little bit more geared towards mom because that was a Mother's Day collection. But lots of things that are fairly generic that would go in there as well. So let's see. Why don't we do this cute little llama down here? Actually, I'm gonna put him there. And then, oh, this is a good one. It's your day. Let's go with that one. And then we'll put on a few of these little hearts. Maybe another floral here. What I'm doing is I'm adding stickers. You can see I'm just adding the stickers directly to the planner. Now, as long as you're using Carpe Diem planners, you're okay with that because these are faux leather or pleather. Some people call them vegan. Whatever that may be, you don't have to worry about, harming the base of the planner when you're doing that. So I can gently pull them off and move them around if needed. Put things back on. Oh, you're awesome. That's a good one. Sometimes we need to open our planner and say, we have that reminder that we're awesome. So there we go. Let's do that right there. You're awesome. Yes, we are. There we go. Okay. And you saw, I put things down, moved them off, moved things around. That's normal. That's part of my process. I do that quite a bit. All right, now I had a black Sharpie here because I do this thing where I like to outline my cards. And normally, well, I guess it depends. There really is no normally. Sometimes I outline them before I put them in the pockets, and other times it's an after. It's a lot easier if I do it before I put them in the pockets because, as you can see here, I'm not being very precise with what I'm doing. But I outline them because I like that look. It makes them kind of stand out and really pop a little bit. So I'm just using a regular black fine tip Sharpie. All right, so I think we're going to call that good. I am going to now use my little tape runner to just add a little bit of adhesive behind those cards. We spend a lot of time decorating our pockets, so we don't want them to move. At least I don't want mine to move once I get them to where I want them. So I usually will just use a little tiny bit of tape runner there to tuck them down so they're not going to move. The tape runner that I'm using, this is Tombow, a permanent adhesive. It's one of their little samplers, but that's a Tombow permanent adhesive. I love their adhesive. All right, so now the next thing I do, I like to have a little something here because right now this is a little plain to me, which reminded me I need to grab something. I think I am going to use this guy. So I'm going to cut part of that down and stick that right in the pocket as a nice little kind of decorator there. So come to the side again. Cutting, cutting, cutting. And usually I do what I just did. Oh, except you know what I just did? I should have measured that first because I just cut it too short. So I'm going to try to piece that little guy back together because I made it too short. No editing here, friends. You see what happens when I am working and make mistakes. We all do it, right? That's all right. Where was that? There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this over move this out of the way. I'm going to take one of, this was one of my samples before. So I'm going to take that as a scratch piece and I'm going to do this back here to use this as a bridge to try to piece that together. Okay, so now let's go like this, and let's go like this. We're going to stick that together. And we're going to put this guy right there. Just to try to hold that together. I hate it when I do that, but that's okay. We really can't even see that I did it. Let's just trim that little excess there at the bottom. Once it's in the pocket, we won't even see it. I just needed a little bit more length. Ta-da! Okay, much better. All right, now what I want to do is I'm going to work in a little bit of a pom-pom trim. So I had pre-cut that to 9 inches. You would think I would have cut this guy to 9 inches too, right? Nope. Okay, so let's now take this out using our scratch paper there, and I want to adhere this to the back side. So I just see the cute pom-poms and not the trim. So just ran a really thin bead of glue all along the edge. And there we go. That pom-pom trim, I ordered it online because I used it in one of my kits, but you can typically find that at any type of craft store. There are different size pom-poms too. So there are some that get really big and then some that are actually quite small. Alrighty, so there we have it. Let's trim these little excess ends off here. Isn't that cute? Tink. Let's see these little guys. Okay. All right, and now we're going to put that right back into my pocket. Cute, isn't that cute? Love it, love it, love it. All right. Okay, so now let's come back to these pages. I'm going to take these back out again so that I can work with them. Now, my scratch piece of paper here. I mentioned before that I like to outline things, so that's what I'm going to do. Really quickly outline. Some of you like to ink edges, and this is basically the same thing. Instead of inking, I'm just outlining. See, it just helps it to stand out a little bit more. And then I will also do this side. I'm not going to do the center though, because I want to show you. I'm going to do something else that's going to be fun with the center. And I love that these printables are pre-dated. If you're buying any of the Carpe Diem inserts, like the actual product, none of those are dated, and that's very specific so that you can use them whenever you need, and they're timeless, I guess I should say. All right, so now what I would normally do is I would use some washi, and I would use washi down the center. I like to cover up those holes, but I wanted to show you something that's really fun and really easy to do. I'm going to make pretend washi out of, this is the leftover of one of those printables. So this is 5.83 by 8.27. So I need 2 strips that are 8.27-ish inches long and about 15 millimeters wide. That is kind of the width of a standard strip of, or your standard washi. So sometimes too, what makes it a little bit easier if that, it's a little bit harder sometimes to get that 8.27, I'll just, looking for a little pencil. Okay, I'm just going to mark that guy about right there. And then for my width, we'll just mark that. I'm going to use an existing piece of washi to mark that. So, all right. Grab my trimmer back out again. Oh, you guys, I'm a messy crafter. I am a messy, messy crafter, messy Marvin. All right, so now let's cut the top and the bottom. Oh, you may not be able to see what I'm doing there. Probably don't need to see me cut. All right, then I have my little strip right there, and my other little one right there. So you can do that with any type of pattern paper, any type of scrapbook paper that you have. And that's a great way to make really custom washi, even though it's not really washi. All right, so now we're gonna use our little tape runner, and I just need to tack that down. I'm tacking it down right over those holes. Now, if I had wanted to, I could have waited to punch the holes until I did this, but that's all right. The nice thing about making washi like the washi, faux washi, maybe we should call it fashi. The nice thing about making faux washi like that is you can make it whatever width that you want. So you can go with thin, you can go with thick, you can get the exact width that you want. So now let's go back this way, and I'm going to use my punch to repunch those holes. Got something in there that's blocking it a little bit. Hang on. Come on. I have not emptied this in quite a while. That's probably what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to get that emptied and I'll come back. Hang tight. Okie doke, so we are emptied. I also actually just took a couple sheets. I took a sheet or two of regular printer paper and just punched a couple times just to loosen that up a bit. I use these punches all of the time, so sometimes they just need a little help to get going again. All right, so there I have my spread. Now, I'm going to start decorating. I'm pulling some of those little stickers. The nice thing here is I don't need to do a lot of decorating. There are a few that I am going to use. I'm actually going to use this little sticky one, that little cactus, and it's going to go right, I'm just going to put it there. One thing you'll notice that these stickers are sized to fit into those little boxes. If you have any of the Carpe Diem sticker tablets, the sticker tablets are also sized to fit those little boxes there. So they're perfectly sized for that. Now, I like this little guy too that says no drama llama. I'm going to put it right there over that little thing that says notes. I'll just use my little tape runner. Okay, and then a little heart. We'll put the little heart maybe right there. Little heart right there. Now what I'm going to do, let's save that little cactus that I just pulled off for a minute, so let's put him right there. All right, so now I'm going to pull out some more washi, and I pulled a couple different colors and styles that I thought would be fun to incorporate. This is a simply gilded washi that I love. It's pink and it has those cute little gold foil hearts. So we're going to work with that one. I'm also going to work with this guy, and this is a really, really, really old washi from my stash, but I love the color. So we're going to use that guy. Just going to show you how old it is. 2013, 14, 15, and 16. So usually what I do when I start decorating, I like to do a little cluster in the lower right hand corner. So I'm actually going to take off the 13, 14, 15, 16. And I'm going to put part of this right here. And then I'm going to come back and get rid of that little part. And we'll put part of this right there. It doesn't matter that it's got those other things on it. January, February, March, it's all a calendar. And you'll see I kept that together. So right now I am joined, and I'll come back later and cut that when I'm all done. So let's get this cute simply gilded on there. Okay, cute. And then this is a really oldie but goodie. This was from our Reset Girl collaboration. So I'm going to put that little strip is there. Let's put that there so you can see. I'm using that teal, that calendar kind of teal colored, more for color than opposed to, than what was on there, than the calendar dates. All right, let's do this one. This is cute. The little llama is going to go right there. And then let's just do, actually, that's okay. That's going to go right there, even though it doesn't look like it's talking that way. It's going to talk that way. And we'll put the flowers in this collection are so cute. Let's do some flowers up in here. Since there's nothing happening, that's the end of February, so we can put that there. And then, Llama Stay. I love this. This is so funny. This little sticker says Llama Stay. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to take this guy. And even though it says Happy Mother's Day, that's okay. If I wanted, I could cut off that top part that said Happy Mother's Day, or I could pull in another sticker. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to pull in this other sticker that says Llama Stay, and it's going to fit right over. That's a good hint. If you're ever working with stickers that say something that doesn't really apply to what you're using, then just cover them up. Cover them up with something else. So this, save the drama for your mama. That could totally go here, right? And I am covering up a lot of the dates, and that's okay. I will come back later and start filling out my calendar. And if some of the dates are, covered, that's okay. I don't get too hung up with that. All right, I think I'm going to call that good. So I'm going to come back in and separate that. Like so. All right. Pull it out. Pull it out. And in we go. So this is going to go there. That's my right side of the page. That's going to go there. You're lovely. You are. Isn't that cute? All right. That's a nice little positive affirmation to have in our planner when we are opening it every day, or every day in the month of March. There were a couple more of those little guys that I wanted to pull out. These also came from the Printables, those kind of cute little labels. So I'm just going to put those on a couple of days. Little glue stick. We'll add that guy right there. And again, those are sized for the boxes. We'll put this blue one right here. Uh-oh. Okay. Usually I would have done this before I put those pages back in, but I forgot. Let's put this one right here. And yes, I know I covered up the 3. Oh no, I don't want that there. I already have that over there. Oh, guess what? Glue stick. It's done. We're committed now, right? That's right. And then maybe we'll just do a little flower, a little heart there. This is the problem, and some of you guys are totally with me on this. Sometimes it is hard to stop. You think you're done, and then you keep coming back, and you come back, and you come back, and that's okay. I'll go there. Okay, so now my March is done, and I would go back in and start adding dates. Or no, dates are already added, adding my calendar. But there's some more fun things in the Printables, you guys. So you have these two dashboards, and then you also have these bookmarks. So, and I didn't print all of the printables so that were available as part of the set. I just printed a few. So you can go and look at those and see what else you might want to use. So I think I'm going to use one of these little bookmarks. I'm going to use the one that says No ProbLllama, and I'm going to cut part of it on my trimmer again. And then I will come back in here and do this. There's some other really fun printables in here. Some little note lists and bookmark lists that you could laminate. You could laminate any of these. In fact, your little lists that are your little bookmarks, those would be great to laminate so that you could write on them, and then when you were done, you could just wipe it off. As long as you laminate, and then you're using a, a dry erase marker or a wet erase marker, not a Sharpie. All right, that's good. So now what I would do, I'm going to go back to my stack that has my inserts in it. All right. So these are my weekly inserts that I had pulled out. So let's grab, oh, no, that's not it. All right, let me grab them. Grabbing my inserts, grabbing my weekly inserts, hang tight. All right, so here they are. These are my horizontal weekly inserts. And sometimes we think we have everything we need, right? And then we go, oh, wait, I'm missing something. All right, so my weekly inserts from Carpe Diem starts out with that kind of month at a glance, and then I have those guys. So let's just grab a stack. I will not be too specific right now. We're going to put those inserts now right back here. Now, I did not print the back side of that. I was in a hurry and I didn't get that back side printed. So normally I would have double side printed that just as I did this one, and then you'd have the back side there. But let's go ahead, and this is going to be the first week of March. So I'm going to take my bookmark and punch. And I think I'm going to go ahead and laminate this later too. As far as laminating goes, if you have a laminator at home, great. If not, you can take that to again, office supply store. FedEx can go and just run it through their little self-service laminating machine. This one also, most of the pages in the printable sets are double-sided. Meaning that if I put in, after I had printed this sheet, let's say after I printed this sheet, if then I put it back in and print it again, I would have something on the back side. I didn't do that here. Again, I was in a hurry, so I didn't do that, but now I have my little cute bookmark there that when I have my planner closed, I know exactly where I am. And I can come back in and add things, I can come back in and move it as I need. But I think, let's see. Let's do I love you, because we can love ourselves, right? So I'm taking that sticker that said I love you lots, and I'm taking off the lots. It's so cute. Did you guys notice? I love you, kind of like llama. 2 L's, not a typo. That's by design. All right, so let's do this over here. Actually, let's put this little guy down first. And then this is going to go, nope, that's not going to work. Sometimes it's a trial and error, right? So let's put this down first. And then this little guy. No, we don't want that. Not working. So now we're just going to go back to taking I love you. And that's going to go right there. If I can get it centered. That is good. All right, now you also notice there were dashboards. So if I wanted to, I could take this little llama. So I could cut him out. This is the him. Remember I said some things are her, some things are him. See you have that extra space right there? That is so you can punch your holes. For the sake of time, I'm actually not going to cut in between those little legs. we're just gonna go pretty quickly here. Actually, it is too hard for me to do that, so we'll take out my little scissors and go a lot quicker with little scissors. And I'm just cutting around that cut line. So you can see even on this one, there is a little bit of white that is inside of that cut line. So it's forgiving as you are cutting. I'm not trying to get in all the way next to that cute little llama. Giving him a little white border around it. Dee-dee-dee. Okay. Done. Fast. That was a fast one, right? So now I'm going to bring back in my punch, and I'm going to just kind of eyeball it underneath. Make sure that I have those 3 holes in a good spot, and there we go. So here, my little llama could be right here. And also, if I wanted, I could do this one, the Save the Drama for Your Mama. And that's a really easier one to cut, although I'm not cutting very precisely. And cut that one. Remember, these are, if you print them double-sided, you'll have a pattern on the back side. And this guy, I will do that too also. And that could go in the middle of one of my weeks as a fun little dashboard. So I could do that. The other thing that I can do, and I have already punched this. Let's pretend I didn't punch that. I don't have to have the, I don't have to punch the holes either at the top or the bottom, the 3 holes together. So I'm gonna do this again and show you another option. It's gonna kind of look weird, but that's okay. Oh yeah, well, you can kind of see what I did there. You wouldn't have all of those holes, but I can punch differently so that I have, actually, let's just do it with this piece. Let's pretend. I'm gonna cut this little guy like this. Let's pretend this was a dashboard. And instead of going all at the top or all at the bottom, I can go in the middle. And I usually just try to take a good look at that to make sure that my spacing's okay. So you can see hole, 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 and it goes right there. So my little dashboard could be in the middle if I wanted it to be in the middle. Okay, friends, so there we have it. That is my March setup. That is a little plan with me. You can see there's lots of things I didn't end up using in my little kit that I kind of had ready to go. And that is all right. I could keep adding things if I wanted, like this cute little love paper clip. If I wanted to put that there, I could. I can continue to add things, and usually I might do that as I continue throughout the month and I start really working in the month. But that also gives you a really good idea on working with printables and the different things that you can do with them, how to print them, and so forth. If you have any questions, please leave the question in the comment, and take care. Hope you guys have fun working with printables. Bye-bye.